Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Kyrie Irving has the ability to opt out of his contract with the Nets this offseason, and that could impact Kevin Durant's future. According to a report, KD is expected to become frustrated with the Nets' ability to keep key players around him if Kyrie walks out the door. Shannon, what do you think? Do you believe KD and Kyrie will end up as teammates again in Brooklyn next year?
Well, at least for one more year. The Brooklyn Nets have become very frustrated with Kyrie Irving.
I'd say.
Skip, I mean, when you tell your employer that your job is not the most important thing, and that's what you do, but you expect them to invest max money in you. Go to your boss and I don't even care nothing about this job. Man, I take this job or leave it. And then say, you know what, I want a raise. And see how your boss look at you. That's basically what Kyrie said. Kyrie said there are more important things than basketball, but in turn, he wants the ownership to give me 5 years at $250 million a year. They're like, nah, we don't want to go that route. At some point in time, Kyrie got to be accountable for Kyrie actions. Okay, you say, you know what, I need time, blah, blah, whatever you're going through, have the common courtesy to call your employer and say, you know what, I got some things going on that I really need to deal with. I'm going to need some time away. You just can't go AWOL. People don't know. They're asking Steve Nash. Steve Nash said, I don't know. They asked the general manager, Sean Marks, I don't know. Nobody knows. And people thought that was okay. That's not okay. You play a team sport, Kyrie. Okay, you didn't want to get the vaccine mandate. I didn't want to make it about me. Everybody else got the mandate. You didn't get the vaccine. Excuse me. Everybody else got the vaccine. You didn't get the vaccine. Who else you thought it was going to be about? Considering that you were one of the most important players on the team, especially once they lose James Harden. So I'm not surprised that ownership is taking this stance. KD wanted his own team. He got it, but he wanted to go along with someone that he knew that he trusted. That was Kyrie. And it's always easy, Skip, when you go to it. Skip, it was easier for me to go to Baltimore because I had Harry Swain there, who I had played with in Denver. Rod Woodson, who I knew very well.
Very well.
So it was easier for me to go to a new location and pick right up because I still got somebody in the locker room that I can talk to.
Yep.
Well, KD going to a different situation, he got his best boy there. Hey, we can talk, we gonna rap, we gonna get all that done. But this is, KD, you chose this, bro. You chose a guy that's unreliable. He's tremendous on the basketball court. Getting him to the court on a consistent basis seems to be the problem. And I think the Nets have had it up to here with Kyrie Irving.
Okay, let's address the first report first. And that was yesterday that Kevin Durant has not been in touch with anyone in the front office or anybody involved with the Nets since the game that they lost and were out. I got no issue with that because I think that's irrelevant because I know you and I have had a couple of 2-week vacations where the last thing you're thinking about doing is checking in with your boss.
I
mean, you're just not going to do it, and he's on vacation, and it's just...
Ain't nothing happened, Skip. The playoffs are going on, which we're not in. There's no free agency taking place. We don't know who's going to be available or possible trade options. So once the season's over, now, Skip, at some point in time, free agency start, and we ain't heard from Kevin Durant, they reach out, hey, KD, we're thinking about making this move. What do you think about this? And he's not returning calls. Now we're on to something.
All I know for sure is that according to multiple reports, they're not happy with Kyrie Irving.
No.
And the strongest report said that they are outright, this is the New York Daily News, said they are outright unwilling to give Kyrie a long-term extension. Well, surely that has gotten back to Kyrie. Surely he is well aware of that. He's a very proud young man. So it's possible that in the next month, he'll just say, heck with you, I'm out. Because he can opt out and become an unrestricted free agent within the next month.
Correct.
Ahead of the opening of free agency.
Correct.
Would he do that? Well, knowing Kyrie, it's possible he would do that just because he's offended by the way he was treated last year. Because I remind you, there was a flashpoint when they finally sent Kyrie home. And his best buddy, Kevin Durant, signed off on it. He did. He blessed it. He said, yep, let's go forward without him. Not until later in the season did they crawl back to Kyrie as they were teetering and starting to lose. Would they have a long losing streak? They lost 12 or whatever. And it's like, we got to have him.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and have him the way we can have him, which is on the road.
And it started to wear on James Harden. He's like, nah, I got to get up out of here. I can't trust him that he's going to, be available. This is too taxing on me, and let me get up out of here too.
Okay, so I believe, bottom line, Kyrie's decision to not get vaccinated wrecked that team last year in many ways, but it wrecked James Harden. He's out. KD, he seemed half-hearted about the rest of the season. They never got their legs back underneath them. Obviously, they lost Joe Harris to a shoulder surgery and blah, blah. They had other issues going on. But Kyrie was the issue. And it sounded like it went all the way to the top, to the owner, that they are close to being done with Kyrie. And I don't think they'd be real unhappy if he opted out and hit the free agent.
But, Skip, if you listen to the way Kyrie talk, it's like the owner, Joe, I can't say his last name. Yeah. We'll sit down with Joe and Sean and, huh? Why would they sit down with your unreliable butt and run anything by you? Why would they do that? Okay, KD, you want to sit down and talk?
Sure.
Got no problem with that. But I'm not going to sit down and run things by a guy that I can't count on, that's unreliable, that's going to pick up anytime he feels free. It's like, well, hey, I got issues. There are things that are more important than basketball. Okay, well, go tend to those. And when you're ready to make basketball a priority, come on back and see if we have something for you. Okay, let's do that.
And I remind everyone, the pandemic is not completely over because numbers out here in California are rising. I believe in Philadelphia, they still have a mask mandate.
Right.
And I don't know what's going to happen going into next basketball season because every night I sit and watch coaches and personnel, Pat Riley in the front row.
They have
masks on because you need to, because every other day I read that somebody in some sports, Steve Kerr's gone, Josh Donaldson's gone, hit the COVID list because it's still out there.
Right.
Well, are we sure?
Didn't Al Horford miss a game because of COVID?
He did. Okay, so going into next year, is it going to be out from under? No, it feels like it's going to be with us from here on. We're just going to have to deal with it. Well, is there going to be any vax mandate going on next year? I don't know, but they're going to have to live with Kyrie going forward. And yet maybe they've chosen to hope that he just goes ahead and exits stage right into free agency because that would allow them to also go into free agency.
Right. And I can assure you there'll be someone that's free, that's a big name, want to play alongside Kevin Durant.
I'm assuming if Bradley Beal would opt out, and would he opt to go play with Kevin Durant? Maybe
do a sign and trade. Okay, you want a max deal? Bradley Beal definitely is going to want a max deal. Well, let's max both of these guys out and we flip them. Washington, you get Kyrie, you send us Bradley Beal and maybe another pick, and we keep it moving. But Skip, I just think the unpredictability of Kyrie and the moodiness, man. Look, I'm just telling how it is. When you work for someone, you can't constantly give people your butt to kiss and say, hey, this is me, accept it, take it or leave it. Nah. You got to have financial independence, which means you need to be your own. You need to be Oprah. You need to do your own. If you Tyler Perry,
you got it.
Then you can do. Well, nah, I'm good. I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna be in my own. But when you working in a team setting, nah, you can't be that way. I'm sorry, you just can't.
This is the young man who said before the season, we don't really need a coach. Really? Okay.
2 years ago when they had Steve Nash,
Okay. So in the end, I know the internet ran wild. Maybe your imagination ran wild with, is there any way to get Kyrie to L.A. to reunite with LeBron James? I have racked my brain, and I can't figure out a logical, feasible way that it could happen because you're stuck with the albatross of an anchor of a contract that is Russell Westbrook's contract.
Well, if you definitely want KD to leave Brooklyn, try to bring Russ there. And he'll definitely get up out of town.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Skip, I don't know if Kyrie wanted to get out from under LeBron. Why would he go back? I mean, he's never enjoyed success.
He's expressed some recent regrets about, I was too immature. I didn't understand.
I don't know if I believe on that.
I don't know if I do either. But the problem is, how do you get out from under Westbrook? Who's going to take that off your hands? Why would the Nets want the Westbrook contract?
No.
It's $47 million, and it's hard to swallow. And so somebody might say, we'll take it off your hands if you'll give us your next big first-round pick.
Yeah.
It'd be 2027.
Yeah.
It's still way out there. And Jeannie has dug in and said, I'm not going to do that.
Right, because Bron will be gone by then. That's for sure.
And it's the classic throwing good money after bad.
Right.
So you throw good money after to
Right.
get rid of bad money, right? You just compound the problem.
But KD, I mean, you have to understand, unless you're like a situation like a Boston, where you draft guys, they develop like you thought they would.
Yep.
Kind of like what you had in OKC. You draft KD, you draft James Harden, you draft Russ, you draft Serge Ibaka.
You did.
Who knew?
Who knew?
Then, Skip, you have the bird rights. You're able to keep those guys and put pieces around them.
Mm-hmm.
But when guys come in free agency and you build a team that way, it's harder to put guys around them. You're able to look at the pieces that they put around JT, JB. You kept Marcus Smart. You bring Al Horford back. Grant Williams was a first-round draft pick. Robert Williams. So you got pieces around these guys, Skip. It's hard. If you draft these guys, kind of like what Milwaukee, you draft Giannis, he stays. You make the trade for Holiday, you get Middleton early on when he basically paying for chicken feed,
Yep.
and now you got a situation you set, kind of like Golden State. You see what happened with Golden State? Their core pieces are drafted. Kevon Looney was a draft pick. Steph, Clay, Draymond, draft picks. Jordan Poole, draft pick.
I will live out my days wondering why my hometown team, the Oklahoma City Thunder, to your point, decided to let James Harden go to Houston because they didn't want to play the luxury tax. Really? And you even had Collison as a fifth piece. So you had a potential